Hey, let's talk about Adjunct Stouts, Pastry Stouts, and brew one up. So something I personally set out to do when brewing these types of beers is brew an Adjunct Stout rather than a Pastry Stout. I think there is a subtle difference, and I think that difference is sweetness. And hear me out on this. I'm a huge sweet tooth. I love cookies. I love brownies. You name it, give it to me. I'll probably just gobble it up and you'll never see it again. But it's interesting when I get a 16-ounce can of a beer that's probably not cheap, and I get halfway through it and I can't drink it anymore. It kind of just bugs me, and it's probably more so of the bottle share culture that the breweries are catering to, and I'm totally guilty of this. Love bottle shares and big thick stouts, but it's a battle between balance and saturation and flavor, because some people are gonna have maybe a few ounces of a beer, maybe a couple ounces of a beer, and they're gonna check in on Tapped and give it 5 stars or 1 star depending on what their experience was. For me personally, for something on tap, the goal is to have a beer that's balanced, and balanced with the roast, balanced with the sweetness, and the roast that cuts directly through the sweetness. I think those two are important, and this is something that I learned from my 10 iterations of Hypothesis Imperial Stout. This is actually a fun story because hypothesis was that if I don't use any roasted malts, I'll only use debittered malts, then I'll have a successful pastry stout. And boy, I did. I mean, I made some pretty good stouts doing that, but at one point they got higher in ABV and they became so sweet that I just wasn't able to drink too much of them either. And so a couple iterations later, I started introducing a little bit of roasted malt here, a little bit of roasted malt there, until I reached that equilibrium where I think I'm at around 10 iterations now, and I think I'm finally happy with where I'm at. I submitted the stout to a few local competitions, and I got a couple of golds, so I think the judges are happy with it too, and to me that's a good sign. And I think that's partially why Side Project are successful as well, right? They don't let their final gravity reach super high numbers. They use roasted malts to balance everything. I'm sure they use debittered malts too, and those are fine. Totally don't stray away from those malts, but make sure that there's balance. There's balance in this huge thing that is a big stout, and super big stouts, you want to balance the barrel as well, and the barrel actually helps cut through some of the sweetness, and that's not what we're after today, but it's still fun to think about. So today we're brewing a graham cracker stout. Given that it's summer, everyone's going to be outside by the campfire, I think I have the perfect thing for this. And this is going to be a collaboration with my good friend Students Brewing out of Oregon. He suggested a really fun malt from Mecca grade called Opal 22. This is a graham cracker type malt, and here's the description on Mecca grade's website. Opal 22 packs in heaps of lightly toasted graham and chocolate flavor. Just think s'mores around a campfire minus the marshmallow. I think this is going to be perfect. I think it's going to be great. So I have 2 pounds of this delicious sounding malt to add to the grain bill, but I'll also be adding 2 pounds of graham crackers just to be safe. I want to make sure those graham crackers, cracker flavors come through. So maybe this will eventually become a s'more stout too, depending on how this comes out, what kind of marshmallow flavors there are. We'll see. So apart from Opal 22, here's what else we'll be using. 56% two-row, just keep a clean base. 11% is Mecca Opal 2. 9% is Flaked Oats, just to give it a nice body and maybe add a little bit of thickness in there. 6% Weyermann Caramunich II, which I think adds a wonderful cookie flavor. I've brewed with this malt before and I love it. 6% Weyermann Chocolate Rye. This is going to add a little bit of chocolate and a little bit of roast and then smoothness. Also, we'll have 6% pale chocolate. This is going to emphasize even more chocolate. 3% Honey Malt, robust sweetness and crystal. And then 3% crisp roasted barley. I found that this is one of my favorite roasted malts. That adds a bit of chocolate note, but it also helps to balance that sweetness that you get from the final gravity and the adjuncts, and really cuts through it. And then at the very end of the mash, I'll be throwing in 2 pounds of graham crackers. For the yeast, we're gonna go with ESO5. Gonna go pretty classic and keep it pretty simple. And for hops, probably 20 IBU of whatever hop I could find in my freezer. Probably Centennial. You want something neutral, not too fruity. I really don't want to overpower the graham crackers and all the subtle nuanced flavors that the malts are going to give me. I think the malts are the emphasis here. I think that's where we're going after. And at the end, I'm shooting for a final gravity, original gravity of 1086, and then the final gravity of 1020, maybe 1025, depends on where the yeast finishes, just to help balance those roasted malts a little bit. Yeah, so I think we're just about ready. I just got to go to the store and get 2 pounds of graham crackers. So I'll be back here and then we'll brew this up.
Hey, and here we have it. We have our beautiful graham cracker stout. It's kind of a small head, might still be under carb, but beautiful jet black body. Pretty dark. It's a stout, checks out. Our numbers for this were 1086 starting gravity, which, what do you know, 2 family size packages of graham crackers are gonna add some sugar into the mash. So I was assuming that add a bit of sugar, probably not as much. Get a little more efficiency here, so overshot our gravity a little bit, which is totally fine because we actually finished a little higher than I wanted at 1030. The mash temperature was a little higher than I wanted to be when I mashed in. I wanted it at 155, but it ended up being at like 158, 159. By the time I got it lower, it was too late. The damage has already been done, but either way, this should be a pretty good beer. So yeah, let's go in and evaluate this. All right, pretty jet black, small head, looks pretty good. This half of the batch, so I split my 5 gallons into 2 batches. This half of the batch got Ugandan vanilla extract, which is basically a tincture I made with vodka and some Ugandan vanilla beans that were chopped up. I got them from eBay, some fantastic beans. Nothing like Madagascar vanilla, by the way. I like this flavor a little bit more. And the other half of the batch is getting pecans. So no vanilla, we're just adding pecans to that half, and I added like a Costco sized bag in there, which is 2.5 pounds of pecans for, sorry, 2 pounds of pecans for 2.5 gallons of stout. So we're gonna see how that comes out. In the meantime, we have our beautiful vanilla batch here, so let's try this out. Ooh, I really smell that vanilla. Like the vanilla extract with Gondon vanillas is just a very unique flavor, and I just love it. That's all I smell. I smell like Hershey's chocolate syrup and like those vanilla beans. Let's go for a little taste here. Oh yeah, that's like that. It's like that Hershey's chocolate as the first impression. Very nice. Very sort of dark colored lacing, kind of like darker head than usual. Yeah, prominent chocolate notes. And I have to say it's that like roasted marshmallow chocolate type vibe. Probably more that Hershey's chocolate. When you mix it with something roasty, it's kind of the flavor you get. So more marshmallow. I don't know where the hell the graham crackers are. That's very interesting. Smells real nice though. That's tasting pretty good. Marshmallows check, which is vanilla. Chocolate check. Graham crackers, I don't know where the hell they went, man. I had 2 family-sized packs in there, plus Opal 22 malt for those cookie vibes. I mean, maybe I could, if I search for it, I could find some sort of a doughy pie crust in there, but not like graham crackers. I guess they just more add sugar more than anything, or maybe it's roasted malts that overpower them a little bit, but it's a nicely balanced beer, I have to say. Like, if I submit this beer to BJCP competition of some sort, I'm sure it's gonna get a decent score because it's got a good balance in it. It's a nice roast. This will hold for a long time. I could store this away, and it's nice overall. I mean, I think it's gonna be a really nice base to mess with using pecans as well. So I'm really excited how that comes out, and I'm gonna go taste this next. All right, so here we have our pecan version, which is slightly more carbonated than the original, as you can see there. Beautiful frothy brown head. I love to see that, especially in like a 7% stout like that. So one thing I was thinking about, just what I would improve on this recipe in a future, just for the base at least, is I think like the chocolate rye gave me a weird vibe, and I don't know, I like Opal. I think I gotta experiment with it a little bit more though, and maybe like a brown ale or something similar. But the chocolate rye is nice, but I think I still prefer the crisp chocolate malt, just the clean one, because it's just much more chocolate forward on its own. So yeah, let's go in for this pecan one. Trying to go for aroma here. I think it's pecans. Let's give it a taste. Oh wow, much sweeter than the other half of the version. That's interesting. Okay, I like that. Yeah, it's super nutty. But I like that clean pecan pie flavor. I think I would really get the actual pie in this one, which is awesome. Okay, I take it back. Graham crackers aren't so bad. Opal, pretty good too. Really interesting. Wow, I like that. Look at that lacing too. It's just, the foam sticks around. Beautiful. Beautiful beer too. And forgive me, I have somewhat of a nut fetish. I like putting nuts into adjunct stouts, and adjuncts just like have this power, like transform a beer sometimes from this version, which is arguably really good, and it's pretty explosive vanilla and chocolate flavor. Well, this stuff is just like, it's so much sweeter all of a sudden, like that perceived sweetness, that mouth coating like flavor saturation is just so much more powerful once you add something like coconut or like pecans or hazelnuts. And the aroma too, it like changes the beer entirely. I mean, it's the same beer like a week ago, and nuts are still in this, by the way, in the keg. Pretty explosive pecan pie, but also like a chocolate silk pie note in there too. And the pecans add like an interesting like flavor overall. I think it really boosts the chocolate, and that's what I love about adjuncts too. Is another thing is they can complement the malts, they can complement the base beer so much that they just make it into something unique and different every time as you experiment with different beer bases. So I think I consider both of these beers a success. Cheers, you guys. Hope you get to try some interesting stouts soon. And if you need more recipes, check out the websites. Check out my website. It's all on there. Cheers.